Hi everyone, you may remember last month there was a damning report about Birmingham Prison and the state of Birmingham Prison. I'll just quickly remind you, this was from The Guardian at the time. It said this: the scale of drug use, scale of drug abuse and violence at Birmingham Prison meant many of the perpetrators faced no sanctions and staff locked themselves in their offices in fear of prisoners. A reporter said. Inspectors found prison officers were, quote, anxious and fearful and were regularly targeted for attacks including arson. Officers were found asleep during lock-up periods by inspectors and several locked themselves away. The shocking details in the report include, I've just got to go over this quickly because this is just disgusting. I mean, whether they're prisoners or not, they shouldn't be treated like this. Inmates faced ongoing intimidation, including other prisoners squirting urine or flowing feces through broken observation panels. A vulnerable and distressed man found sitting on the springs of his bed told inspectors his mattress had been stolen 3 days earlier. A troubled inmate struggling with personal hygiene issues was reportedly sprayed with water from a fire hose by other inmates who soaked him and his possessions in what the report described as appalling bullying. I'm sure that's the least of what was going on there. And 1 in 7 prisoners said they had developed drug addictions since their time in prison. Wonderful. 1 in 7. Put them away for a crime and turn them into a drug addict as well. Makes sense, doesn't it? Well, this is what the government have proposed as a fix for this problem at Birmingham Prison. They are going to, this is in the Independent, they're going to, second paragraph, ministers announced on Monday that 200 inmates had been removed and 32 staff members deployed to the prison after inspectors issued an urgent notice warning that the jail was blighted by soaring violence, drug use and appalling living conditions. So their solution to this massive problem is to take 200 people out, put them in other prisons, obviously making the state of the other prisons worse, and put 32. This is akin to putting a band-aid on a broken leg, or worse, a band-aid on cancer. It's just pathetic. This is not the first time we have had a problem this year with a prison. You may remember this. This is when Liz Truss was Justice Secretary. Many people think that she was demoted because of the reports from the state of the prisons over the last year or two. Ended up in BBC Panorama doing an undercover report where somebody trained to be a prison officer worked at Northumberland Prison, and it was shocking. Absolutely shocking. It's not the first time this has happened this year with a prison in the UK. Is it any wonder that you get these problems when you have a for-profit prison system? And there was the Criminal Justice Act, I think it was 1990 or 91, when the government made it possible to outsource the running of the prisons. And the thought was it's going to save money. And it invariably does. To be fair, a private prison does save the government money up front. But at what cost? This is what I want to get to. What cost? How many of the prisoners going not just to Birmingham and Northumberland, but other prisons throughout the country? It is systemic throughout the prison system. This problem is. How many people have gone into prison and ended up being more criminal when they left because of the state of the prisons, or ended up, as it says there, 1 in 7 people develop a drug habit in prison. When they leave prison, what are the chances that they're going to be rehabilitated? None. I think I read the other day, somebody please, let me know if I'm wrong. 50%, the report I saw, 50% of those who go to prison and are released from prison end up reoffending and going back into prison. That's the system we've got at the moment. 50%. I think the report said something like within 6 months. If you're trying to save money and trying to have a system where people can make profit from it, is it any wonder that the living conditions and the standards drop massively as a result, and you end up getting a prison system which is just broken and not fit for purpose? Yes, it's meant to lock up our most dangerous criminals, but it's the prison system's also meant to reform prisoners and to give them the best chance when they are released. And this isn't the case. And like I say, the government's big plan to solve this by taking 200 prisoners out, sending those problems elsewhere. So giving, as I say, problems, I didn't mean to cause the prisoners problems, but sending those prisoners elsewhere to cause problems at other prisons with overcrowding, and an extra 32 staff at Birmingham, that isn't going to solve a damn thing. We need to end the prison for profit system, is what we do in this country. We need to renationalise the prisons and start actually, yes, okay, if it's going to cost money, it's going to cost money. But if we don't actually spend that money up front and get a prison system that's fit for purpose, what cost is that going to have at the back end? I suggest that the cost at the back end is a hell of a lot worse than the upfront cost. And somebody really needs to look into that in the government before they give any more contracts to a third party like G4S to run a prison when it's clear that this system is totally broken. Fix it. Don't put a band-aid over it like you have with this debacle. If you like this video and you want to see more, please subscribe and click the bell below. Independent media voices like mine are being censored across all social media platforms, so please share my videos everywhere you can to spread the word. If you can, please become a patron. The link is below as well. $1, $2, $5 a month, whatever you can afford. It really helps. I cannot do this without your support. Thanks very much for your support. Until next time, peace and take care.